Good morning all. I'm back in Jerusalem for the day, and I went live just as there was a whole load of honking of horns from the traffic behind me. This traffic that snakes around the road that runs outside the old city of Jerusalem, which is what's behind me. Back there in the mist, you cannot see it. Down there is the Dead Sea. On a clear day, which this is not, you can see all the way to the Dead Sea from here. And just over here, I'm going to turn around, there's an old windmill, the Montefiore windmill. This was an area outside the city walls where basically very, very poor Jews from Yemen used to live. And it was a slum outside the city walls. Today, it is ultra high-end homes and a conference centre, which I'll be in later. At something, do you know what? I don't even know if it's a publicisable event until I get into it. So, it probably is. I can't believe it won't be. But as you can see, this piece of land, just the old Yemeni part of outside the walls of Jerusalem, which was a slum, and where the poor people who fled and came from Yemen were living. That, of course, has turned into probably some of the most expensive real estate in the world, because it looks across at the old city of Jerusalem. And if I turn around again, it'll be hard to see in the small thing, but just basically directly behind the windmill is the very famous King David Hotel, which these days is a hotel again. Back when it was made famous by Irgun and others blowing it up, it was the command centre for British headquarters in British Mandate Palestine. Wasn't a hotel at that point, but it is today. It's a very famous, very, very expensive hotel. And like I say, this bit of land, once a slum, now I would say rivaling Manhattan, central London, and basically anywhere in the world, even Macau probably, and Hong Kong, in terms of price per square foot for residential property in there, because there are some not vast homes there, but they're amazing. I've been in a couple. And also, my favourite little bugbear about Jerusalem, this is the valley across which there is a plan to join up that side with the old city on that side with an electric cable car. Can you hear the sounds of traffic honking their horns? A considerable part of the traffic that goes up and down this stupid little road is tourist buses that are going to the entrance to the old city, which is just around the corner that you can't see. That's the Dung Gate. Oh, I've got a big heavy bag on. Let's get rid of that. The Dung Gate is the gate closest to the Kotel, the Western Wall, as some people call it, which is the site, obviously, of the ancient temple that the Romans destroyed, the Second Temple, which was destroyed by the Romans, and the Muslims came along and built a mosque and mausoleum on top of it. Anyway, that entrance is just around the corner, and a great deal of the traffic that goes along this ridiculous road is tourist buses. And in my opinion, those buses should all stop on this side of the valley, over next to First Station, where I just parked. It's the place where presidents of America park their helicopters, actually, when they visit Jerusalem. That's where Trump parked his helicopters. And then they could just get across the valley on a cable car taking 3,000 people an hour instead of these horrible, noisy, smelly buses that are honking their horns. And I think it would be one of the greatest tourist attractions in the world. My friend Jono thinks that it will go broke. And, we'll wait. We remain to be seen. But the main thing is that the lefties don't want it built, because where I'm standing now, I believe, was held by Israel in 1948. At the end of the Independence War, this was held by Israel. But everything over the city walls over there was not held. That was held by Jordan. So this was a whole dead man zone. Nothing much went on here. Today, There's something called Sultan's Pool down there. They have concerts. It's developed. It's a beautiful garden. I think this is actually where the Canaanites used to throw babies into a big pot of fire. Well, that might happen a little bit further down the valley. Whatever it was, for the first time in its history in 1949, Jerusalem ended up divided. It had never been divided before. There had never been a concept of East and West Jerusalem. There was always just Jerusalem. In fact, this really wasn't Jerusalem where I'm standing, because Jerusalem was inside the city walls. That's why I say outside the Yemenite bit, this was a slum on the outside the walls, not protected, not inside the walls. So the lefties object to a cable car going from this side to that side. Because why? Because it crosses this mythical line that they've still got in their imaginations, this line of division from the time when Jordan illegally occupied Jerusalem from 1949 to 1967 until it was liberated in 1967 by Israeli forces, and the city once again was one and whole and complete, as it should be, because this place has been here for 4,000 plus years. It was only divided in that tiny little brief period from 1949 to 67. And think about Berlin. I think I checked. Berlin's about 1,500 years old or something as a city, as a town, and it was divided for far longer as a proportion of its entire history than Jerusalem ever was. But nobody talks about East and West Berlin anymore. There's no. It would be ridiculous to think of redividing Berlin. Why would anybody do that? And it's the same here in Jerusalem. Why would anybody want to divide it? It's thriving. It's flourishing under Israeli Jewish control. And frankly, we don't want it to turn into the same kind of shithole that it would turn into. Excuse my language, but that's the only word for it. We don't want it to turn into the same kind of place that all the other cities in the neighboring region, like, say, Homs or Aleppo or what Beirut could become if Hezbollah eventually go ahead and unleash the 150,000 rockets they've got pointed at us today. And yes, I'm wearing a suit, but I didn't put on a tie. Sorry about that. All right, enough of me wobbling on. Speak to you later, and I'll tell you what I'm doing if for some reason it's public.